Welcome! Valhalla! Give it up for the Mad Doctor, Adega Outlaw! Light the fires for Stone Loki! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 7 Kinds of Mischief!
Now I have to turn my volume back up.
Oh my God, Loki's yelling in my ear. He's saying things like Mad Doctor Adega.
You better believe it.
Oh, dude. I'll tell you what, man. Mike, here in a minute, Mike's gonna call me and be like, dude, your blood pressure. I'm gonna be like, it's 7 Kinds of Mischief. He's been doing that in the morning. He's like, dude, stop yelling. Your blood pressure. I'm like,
That's good for you, Mike. Leave him alone.
gets the heart going.
Yeah.
The heart going. That's right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Kinds of Mischief with the Mad Doctor of Disaster and Destruction, Adega Outlaw. Man with more names.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just working on my steam engine.
Just trying to take out a few people, not a lot. Simple few thousand.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. Oh, it's funny when the other morning when me and Zero were talking, and I was like, dude, you have no idea. Adega's a Solarian. I tell you what.
My voice has to be a little bit better for me to do it. It's a little rough tonight, but that's all right. And before we get started, I want Project Storytime. It's your birthday. You should be stuffing your face full of cake instead of listening to us.
Happy birthday again, my friend. It was so good to get Arwen to come on and sing you a happy birthday this morning. Happy birthday again, brother. It is good to see you. Michelle O'Rourke Johansson. Hello. Good evening. Ryan Roger Ape, how are you doing? Day Bob. Alec Baldwin is screwed. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Frog P is blaming everyone but herself. Yes, Frosk is blaming everyone. Good evening, Ryan, or should I say good morning? It's 1 o'clock there, isn't it? It's 1 a.m. in the morning, so good morning. If you're across the pond with us tonight, good morning, everyone. Psychodorf 9 is here. Psychodorf 9! How are you doing, brother? Leah Rose is here. Good evening, Leah. William Jackson, how are you doing? Andrew 462 is here. Good evening. Monkey Jeebus says, hey, guys, what's up? What's up, Monkey Jeebus? The man of the memes. The genius behind the Mexican Iron Man. What are going to be Mexican Iron Man skulls. I'm working on it, guys. I am. I had some computer issues last weekend, but I'm going to be working this weekend on some new shorts and some new stuff that we're going to put together. And DJ Ronnie G's $2 super chat says Project Birthday Time. I like it.
All right.
I like it. Heck yeah. Thank you, brother, for the $2. Thank you very much. What do we got going on? What do we got going on tonight? I know we got a couple of things we're going to do, but I have no idea what order you want to do them in.
I want to do something a little disturbing. I haven't done anything disturbing in a while. Um,
Oh my.
and that's what you guys are. You got used to me talking about things that were a little dark, and I've been unfortunately going into the studying things that uh,
Do you
they
want to
are
show?
on the. No,
Sorry, I
we
didn't
can
mean.
do that later.
Okay.
No, but this I don't know where my study was tracing through. It had to do with some ancient rituals or something, and it ended up on Marina Abramovich. You guys know her, the spirit cooking, all that evil stuff. I did some study work, figured out the religion, the actual religion, where she will deny it, but all the practices and everything are dead on with something that started quite a while ago. Aleister Crowley was actually part of it. The name of it, uh, it depends on who's saying it. It could be Thelema, or Thelema, which I think is accurate as Thelema. And the problem I have with this is they have a credo, which I'm going to read tonight so you guys can hear. Um, the problem I have with it is when you hear it, certain mindsets may be enticed to it without knowing all the logic around it. It is for people who can actually analyze what is being said, you'll find out it is not anything desirable and it is quite disturbing, regardless of how it's said. But this will give you an idea of why, and it applies to everything. Because uh, last year I showed you guys some of these parties that the Hollywood people go to, where they do mock cannibalism, where there's blood sacrifices, all these various different things that they do. And there's a reason, and it has to also go along with some of you who know about the Bohemian Grove, which I don't think I've ever covered. But their whole purpose is to remove from you your feelings of guilt and care about others and be completely devoted for yourself. And that's why a lot of them will deny it's Satanism, because it's self worship. But in reality, it's the same thing. So, this from the message of the Master Therian. This is a credo that the high priests say to themselves. Some of you will recognize the very beginning of it, but then there's a discussion afterwards about what it means for these people. And again, like I said, you have to fully analyze this to make sense. Taking it at surface value, some of you may think, oh, yeah, this is pretty cool, but it's not. And hopefully, I'll remember some of the points that came up so I can explain to you why it's not. But here we go. And there's a lot of quotes in here. I'm not going to do the quote unquote thing all the time. I'm just going to read it. But this first part, the first four lines, is actually it. And there's an interesting name in here, which some of you will understand why some of it came to relevance to me this time too, from recall of this. Here we go. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. The word of the law is Velma. Velma, Thelema, means will. The key to this message is this word will. The first obvious meaning of this law is confirmed by the antithesis. The word of sin is restriction. Say that this is where they get into the battle against restrictions or things that hinder you. Again, thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that, and no other shall say nay. For pure will, unassured of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. Take this carefully. It seems to imply a theory that if every man and every woman did as he and her will, the true will, there would be no clashing. Every man and every woman is a star, and each star moves in its appropriate path without interference. There is plenty of room for all. It is only disorder, and that it is only disorder that creates confusion. From these considerations, it should be clear that do what thou wilt does not mean do what you like. It is the apotheosis of freedom, but it is also the strictest possible bond. Do what thou wilt, then do nothing else. Let nothing deflect thee from the austere and holy task. Liberty is absolute to do thy will, but seek to do any other thing whatsoever, and instantly obstacles must arise. Every act that is not in defined course of that one orbit is erratic and hindrance. Will must not be two, but one. Note further that this will is not only to be pure, that is, single, as explained above, but also unassured of purpose. This strange phrase must give a pause. It may mean that any purpose in the will would dampen it. Clearly, the lust of result is the thing from which it must be delivered. But the phrase may also be interpreted as if it was read with purpose unassuaged, i.e., with tireless energy. The concept is, therefore, of an eternal motion, infinite and impalpable. It is nirvana, only dynamic instead of static, and this comes to the same thing in the end. The obvious practical task of the magician is then to discover what his will really is, so that he may do it in this manner, and he can best accomplish this by the practice of Liber Thesorb, or such others as may form one time to another be appointed. Thou must, 1. Find out what is thy will. 2. Do that will with a one-pointedness, detachment, peace. Then, and only then, art thou in harmony with the movement of things. Thy will part of, and therefore equal to the will of God. And since the will is but the dynamic aspect of self, and since two different selves could not possess identical wills, then if they will be God's will, then thou art that. We'll take that sentence apart in a little bit. There is but one other word to explain. Elsewhere it is written, surely for our great comfort, love is the law, love under will. This is to be taken as meaning that while will is the law, the nature of that will is love. But this love is, as it were, a byproduct of that will. It does not contradict or supersede will. And if apparent contradiction should arise in any crisis, it is the will that will guide us aright. Lo, while in the book of the law is much of love, there is no word of the sentimentality. Hate itself is almost like love. As brothers fight ye, all the manly races of the world understand this. The love of the Liber Legis is always bold, virile, even orgastic. This is delicacy, but it is the delicacy of strength. Mighty and terrible and glamorous is it. However, it is but pennon upon the sacred lance of will, and domesticates inscription upon the sword of the knight monk of Thelema. All right. Again, when it starts talking about love and how they're akin to God, I got to take that apart. The whole nature of your will automatically puts you at odds with all of the universe. You think of our universe as something that in everything entropy is involved. And if you become one with it, as it says, one with the will, then you become a destructive force in everything. And it leads in a downward spiral. You have to think of the big picture here instead of these little things where it says, these little things that you do, your will is going to make you happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, just do your will and then fall in love with the results. That's not how it works unless you love misery and the pain of others, because that's where this ultimately leads. That's why you see all of these things in our modern media. That's why you're getting all these little symbols and things that you buy, advertising campaigns, various influential people who are either suffering or killed for one reason or another. It is all connected. And those of you who have been here every night know how it is all connected. This is their religion. It is not something that is just happening, or it's not just people that are proposing these woke ideas. It is meant for their will and your suffering. And that is the message of the Master Therian. So I figured I'd share that with you because it's in writ. There are several other texts that I can grab from. This is one of the older ones. But there you have it.
All right. Thank you, brother.
I don't know if you want me to think about that. I don't like that. I brought it up because I you guys need to know it. But I don't like it. It's quite evil.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that. Do you want to show off something that's not evil?
Yeah. For those of you, because I know there's quite a few of you in here that are not big fans of Amazon, and some of you that have bought my books from Amazon know that Amazon doesn't quite take care of the product. They'll come in boxes that are oversized, you'll get dented or warped books or various different things. And it's been the major complaint from people. If I get complaints about the book, that's the one thing, any of my books, is that Amazon has not treated them nicely. Well, guess what? Barnes & Noble and Nook decided, yeah, we like your stuff. So I am now working with Barnes & Noble and Nook as well. You will be able to get my books in a slightly different form. The hardcover for all of the Evolution series will return, smaller size, better made, better looking, and in better shape when you get them than what you would from Amazon. So I'm quite excited about that. And Loki has a picture of something that Paige finished for me.
Yes.
The Blood Witch is going to go away. We are no longer going to have a paperback version. I'm getting rid of that completely. Instead, what you'll have is this. That is the new cover. And that will be in matte finish on hardback from now on. If you can see in the center, I don't know how well it shows up. You can see it's going to be slightly different, but not much. But there's kind of a mess of image in the very center of the spine. When all 5 books are done and you set them on the shelf, they will form out an image in itself, which is, those of you who know my story, it's Hannah hand doing magic. So you will see her sleeve up to her wrist, to her neck. There is her fingers with little magic implements coming out. And the last book will be the after effects. But I'm quite excited, and you guys now have a better source to get books that are meant for people with better imaginations, people who don't want to be indoctrinated, and from someone who refused the influences of evil, I should say, that are out there from people who would prefer to have something woke instead of having something normal. So expect this to be on Amazon, this hardcover version on Amazon, in a day or two. It's under review right now. Usually it takes less than 2 or 3 days, so it may even show up tomorrow. And then I'm finishing up the stuff with Barnes & Noble, and as soon as I get the first Evolution book back, I'll start rolling them out as quickly as I can there. But there you go. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Most people, if you're not real book readers, that's okay. I understand that. But if you are, This is top notch stuff. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. These are great works, and you're gonna love this stuff. You really will. And those of you who have read it, any of my stuff will tell this the same story.
Dave
I've heard
Bob
from some
says,
people.
"Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
Oh,
I've
I
heard
just
from several people. I'm one of the best writers out there right now. So
you are.
just take it from someone who's always tried to be humble, but you know what? Screw that. I'm going to tell you how it is. This is good stuff, and you're missing out if you don't get it.
Dave Bob says he's got to get the new books now. You aren't the only one. That's what I'm going to do. Buy all new
Well,
books.
again, you when
I
they
don't
start
want
coming
one
out.
edition. I want all of the editions.
Well, I know a lot of people have been waiting for a hardcover for the Blood Witch, and this is something special, and it's going to tie in with all of them. The Organza Witches is just about done. The cover is just about done, so expect that in a month, maybe. So you'll have book 1 and book 4 ready in about a month. This is book 4. Technically, it's the first one I've written. The other ones are history books, and then there's the last one, Legends, is futuristic. Those of you who follow me know that, but anyway, I'm just excited about it, and it gives you something good to look forward to instead of more degradation of IPs that we used to love and things that they've been doing to D&D and Tolkien's work and all of Willow and the various other things that are out there. This is never going to be corrupted in our lifetimes, guaranteed.
Yes. No, absolutely. And that is a beautiful cover. There was one question Brogan Entertainment asked, who did it?
That was the same artist I always had. She was tired with what I had before. She's been on this show before, Paige, and we sat down. You see the skull in there. That is a representation of the Death Wind. That's a form of magic. There's 3 forms of magic in the Blood Witch, and the Death Wind shows up fairly prominent in the end of this book. In the Organza Witches, you will see a different symbol. It's a sideways sun. It's representative of a healer mage. In the one that I'm doing now that you guys can hear on my YouTube, it's Andros. It will have the symbol of the Trodair family, the cross. And then Ellie, who will be coming out probably next year. You'll start seeing it on my YouTube channel. That one will have the nature caller symbol. That's the same one when we had Chris Fisk on, and he showed it off. He was the one who actually designed that. And the last one with Blood Witch Legends will have all 5 symbols on it. And there's a reason for it, because each one does something different in each time frame. So, but yeah, that was Paige's work.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't
she's
wait.
The same one who, she's the same one who made your posters for the Valhalicon.
Guys, she did posters, and she did the shirts. She did the back of the shirts. So the back of the shirts at Valhalicon, you could only get them. I do have a couple of those left, but those are already going out. And I don't know if any more of them are going to ever be made, because I've completely removed everything from the Teespring store, including those, because of how Teespring has screwed over so many people that have ordered off there, and I've sent promos out, people who never got them, and I'm kind of done. So I'm gonna be setting up a new store somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I was using Teesprings, and then I found out every once in a while there would be a shirt or something that would come out that was they'd fall apart. All the printing and stuff would come off. Like I have your sweater, the hoodie thing, and it still looks like new. But other things don't. The inconsistency is there, and I just put it down as just a cup.
I sent a $50 the comfort hoodie, like the one you got. I sent that to Mr. CCDB, one wash, and the dragon completely washed out in the back.
Yeah, see, mine's still great, but it's inconsistent. So I know there's better companies out there. It'll be great when you get the new stuff.
Before we get to the story, Michelle O'Rourke Hansen says, Loki and Adega, I'm fixing to be published in 2 months. My first book of my Celtic, Norwegian, Wiccan, and pagan poetry. is due out in
Awesome.
bookstores on Amazon. That is awesome.
Let us know because I will buy one.
Yes, let us know. I'm a little nervous with the launch of my poetry book. I imagine you are, but it's going to do great. You're going to do great. Let everybody know about it. Where when you're on, let
Absolutely.
people know about it. So tonight, I'm hoping to get 2 stories in. I know I'll definitely get more. Depends on where we're at after this first one. This is called The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids. I'm thinking this is like The Wolf and the Three Little Pigs, but it's called The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids. So it's all out of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. There was once upon a time an old goat who had 7 little kids and loved them with all the love of a mother for her children. One day she wanted to go into the forest and fetch some food. So she called all 7 to her and said, "Dear children, I have to go into the forest. Be on your guard against the wolf. If he comes in, he will devour you all, skin, hair, and all. The wretch often disguises himself, but you will know him at once by his rough voice and his black feet." The kid said, "Dear mother, we will take good care of ourselves. You may go away without any anxiety." Then the old one bleated and went on her way with an easy mind. It was not long before someone knocked at the door and called, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother is here and has brought something back with her for each of you." But the little kids knew that it was the wolf by the rough voice. "We will not open the door," cried the kids. "You are not our mother. She has a soft, pleasant voice, but your voice is rough. You are the wolf." Then the wolf went away to a shopkeeper and bought himself a great lump of chalk, ate this, and made his voice soft with it. Then he came back, knocked at the door of the house, and cried, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother is here and has brought something back with her for each of you." But the wolf had laid his black paws against the window, and the children saw them and cried, "We will not open the door. Our mother has not black feet like you. You are the wolf." Then the wolf ran into to the baker and said, "I have hurt my feet. Rub some dough over them for me." And when the baker had rubbed his feet over, he ran to the miller and said, "Strew some white meal over my feet for me." The miller thought to himself, the wolf wants to deceive someone, and refused. But the wolf said, "If you will not do it, I will devour you." Then the miller was afraid and made his paws white for him. Yes, that's how people are. So now the wretch went for the third time to the door, knocked at it, and said, "Open the door for me, children. Your dear little mother has come home and has brought every one of you something back from the forest with her." The little kids cried, "First, show us your paws, that we may know if you are our dear little mother." Then he put his paws in through the window, and when the kids saw that they were white, they believed that all he said was true and opened the door. But who should come in but the wolf? They were terrified and wanted to hide themselves. One sprang under the table, the second into the bed, the third into the stove, the fourth into the kitchen, and the fifth into the cupboard, the sixth under the washing bowl, and the seventh into the clock case. But the wolf found them and used no great ceremony. One after the other, he swallowed them down his throat. The youngest, who was in the clock case, was the only one he did not find. When the wolf had satisfied his appetite, he took himself off, laid himself down under a tree in the green meadow outside, and went to sleep. Soon afterwards, the old goat came home again from the forest. Ah, what a sight she saw! The door wide open, the table, chairs, and benches were thrown down, the washing bowl lay broken to pieces, and the quilts and pillows were pulled off the bed. She sought her children, but they were nowhere to be found. She called them, one after another, by name, but no one answered. At last, when she came to the youngest, a soft voice cried, "Dear mother, I am in the clock case." She took the kid out, and it told her what the wolf had come and had eaten all the others. Then you may imagine how she wept over her poor children. At length, in her grief, she went out, and the youngest kid ran with her. When they came to the meadow, There the wolf lay by the tree and snored so loud that the branches shook. She looked at him on every side and saw that something was moving and struggling in his gorged stomach. Ah, heavens, she said. Is it possible that my poor children, whom he has swallowed down for his supper, can still be alive? Then the kid had to run home and fetch scissors and a needle and thread. And the goat cut open the monster's stomach, and hardly had she made out one cut than one little kid thrust its head out, and when she cut further, all six sprang out one after the other, and were all still alive, and had suffered no injury whatsoever, for in this greediness the monster had swallowed them down whole. What rejoicing there was! They embraced their dear mother and jumped like a sailor at his wedding. The mother, however, said, "Now go and look for some big stones, and we will fill the wicked beast's stomach with them while he is still asleep." Then the seven kids dragged the stones there with all speed and put as many of them into his stomach as they could go. And the mother sewed him up, and again in the greatest haste, so that he was not aware of anything and never once stirred. When the wolf at length had had his sleep, he got on his legs, and as the stones in his stomach made him very thirsty, he wanted to go to a well to drink. But when he began to walk and move about, the stones in his stomach stopped knocking against each other, started knocking against each other, and rattled. Then he cried, "What rumbles and tumbles against my poor bones? I thought 'twas six kids, but it was naught but big stones." And when he got to the well and stooped over the well and was just about to drink, the heavy stones made him fall in, and there was no help. But he had to drown miserably. When the seven kids saw that, they came running to the spot and cried aloud, "The wolf is dead! The wolf is dead!" and danced for joy around about the well with their mother.
That reminded me. One of these days, you have to remind me of the story of why there's. It reminded me. Don't. It's maybe minor similarities of where the Native American, at least in the Lakota, where the myth of the sweat lodge. Why they do the sweat lodge. It's kind of a cool story. I'll have to share that sometime.
The Greeks had a story like that too.
Mm.
So the Titan, the father of Zeus, ate Zeus and
Yeah.
Hera and all the
Yep.
kids, and their mother got them out of his stomach, and replaced them with stones.
I think we talked about that very early on.
We did. Kronos was his name. So he held the world on his back.
Yep.
Okay, so let me see. Oh, that's a long one. That's a really long one.
You want me to do the sweat lodge now then, since it's kind of related?
Sure.
We could save the really long one for next week. As legend goes, it was a mother who had. No, it wasn't a mother. It was a sister, and had seven brothers. The parents were gone, and they were starving. So the oldest boy said, "I will go and hunt out some food for us." And he went out and never returned. After a day, the second oldest boy said, we're starving. I need to go get some food." And the other ones were hesitant because of the first one being gone, but he went out and again didn't return. And so it went all the way down to the youngest, and he was just barely able to hunt. And the sister cried out, "Don't go. I don't want to be alone. I don't know what happened to your brothers. Something evil is out there. There's tales of a witch. There's tales of wolves. There's all kinds of different things. Don't go." But he went anyway. And he was very cautious. And as he went out hunting, he found the witch. And she cried and complained when she saw him and said, I am a poor widow in a lot of pain. I need your help. Please help me. And other stories say it was a very beautiful woman. Um, so the young warrior, he goes up and says, well, what can I do? And she goes, walk on my back for me. It'll help relieve the pain. And so he decided to do that. And so she laid on the ground and he lifted up his foot and noticed on her back there was a tiny little needle pointing straight out. And he realized if he stepped on it, it would hurt and possibly poison him. And so instead of standing on her, he killed her. His fear got the better of him, or his caution. And he looked around and found her hut, and inside her hut, he found his 6 other brothers, basically mummified, up against the walls. She had sucked the life out of him. And in his anguish, he went out and was crying on a hill for his brothers when a voice of one of the ancient spirits came to him and said, steam the house, heat the house, recover your brothers. He went back in and basically, like the first sweat lodge, had made a fire inside and filled it with steam. And the steam revived all of his brothers, and they're able to go home. So that's paraphrasing about 2 different stories. But that's the idea of where the sweat lodge came in, is to cast off the evil and to set yourself in better footing and purified.
That can also be a life lesson, though, too. And I think a lot of this is, use your head before you leap.
Right.
Don't eat so much that you're basically so tired you're laying there fat and gorged and anything could happen to you. Don't get greedy. Don't walk into someone's house and eat everything off the shelves because
right. And in the one story from the Lakota where she's a beautiful woman, the brothers were enticed by the beauty of a woman instead of taking care of the family first. And that's how they faltered, where the youngest wasn't enticed and did his duty.
Yeah. Atlas did hold up the world. I thought Kronos did something too. I don't remember.
Kronos is time.
Yeah. He was also, supposedly, Ifrit. There's the god Ifrit. I can't remember where the hell I read that. That Kronos escaped. Also,
it's been a while.
Ifrit. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, for those of you while he's looking, that's people who are newer. We originally started off by going through the mythologies, the Greeks, then the Romans, and so we had gone through several of them. We hit the highlights. We didn't go into all of the families, various different branches, but we did the main ones, the main stories. And then we did the Norse for a little bit. And then we got carried away with telling spooky stories.
Yes, we did. And it's kind of just become this.
Yeah. Either way, I still like it.
That's right. All right, guys.
We do every week.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me and Adega as we do this. More Grimm's fairy tales next week. I don't know what Adega is going to do. We've got a long one, though, next week called Faithful John. And depending on, because this is I think this is 7 or 8 pages for this one story. The Wonderful Musician is after that. So.
All right.
Be bringing you more of these. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Until tomorrow morning, we're going to have the weekend review tomorrow with Adega Outlaw. Hopefully, Ryan Roger Ate will be there. Maybe.
No, I won't be there. You mean Dave Bob. I don't do mornings very well.
Maybe Arwen. I don't know. I don't know who all will be there. Roger, Ryan, Athe. Who knows? Who knows who will be there in the morning? But until then, guys, take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak Brenda Enter. Me and Adega will see you on the next 7 Kinds of Mischief.
Have a good one.